Okay, folks, welcome everybody. Today I would like to bring something home to you because, believe it or not, when you're finished with this lifetime, you're going to go to a place and you're going to have a look at your life. Okay? And the concept that I'm going to show you now really brings it home to a lot of people at that life review. Because the facts are the facts. Okay? So it's kind of like, think of it this way. Think of this lifetime as a visa application. Yeah? You're going to be going on a journey. No one plans for this journey, by the way. Everybody will plan to go to Spain, they'll plan to go to Disneyland, they'll plan to go to Dublin, London, wherever they go. They make plenty of plans. But who plans for the journey that everybody's going to travel on? So, one of the things at the life review that's really hits it home to what this life is and what you've done with this life is the concept of the three layers of time, space, and energy. Do you know what this means? Anybody? The top one, time. What does that? Just
You have linear time and you have eternity.
right, but we're on about this lifetime, so we're talking about your time.
No.
Yeah. So what the
Linear
time is, the time starts here at the moment you're born. Yeah? And the time ends here at the moment your body dies. Isn't that true? So that means from here to here is a certain amount of time. And you've already chosen it. No one dies without their own consent. And you're obviously physically consented to be born also. Mm-hmm. So you can see here there's two fixed points of time in your life. Isn't this true? Yeah? From the moment you're born to the moment you die. So, here we have now, time has created something. This length of time has created something. What has it created?
Life.
Space. Think about it. You have an allocation of time, okay? And now that space is going to be there for you to utilize. Yeah? True? Everybody with me so far? Mm-hmm. So the space would start from here to here in conjunction with this, with your time. So what's the last element? Energy. Okay? You're going to have a certain amount of energy. Isn't this so? And what do you do with this energy?
Increase or decrease?
Wasted.
Huh? Well, that's to be decided yet.
Oh.
Okay? So everybody with me here, right? So when you were writing your script before you were born, okay, and I would say this is the last part of your script, because a big part of your script is you come here to learn lessons. So how long is it going to take you to learn that lesson? What's your life purpose here? You know, what's it all about? So that will give you the measure of time that you're here to fulfill. Okay? And you can basically crawl to this point, or you can walk to this point. Or you can lie in a hospital to this point. But very rarely does this point basically alter. In other words, there's no accidents in all of this. Okay? So this is the space, and this is what you're here for. You're going to have energy. And the energy is what you're going to do in time and what you're going to put into this space. So let me turn around now and show you just the average 3 layers of time, space, and energy. And you're going to be showing this at your life review, so you're getting a good heads up now. Okay, this won't come as a big shock to you. All right, because, you know, I have often said this in my talks before, that I have been witness to a number of life reviews. I have been, in this lifetime, I needed to do this because I wanted to sum up life, to show people what's at the end of life. In a simple way, when you're here, what are you here for? Are you here feeding it with the ego? Or are you here basically to fulfill your purpose, your script? So here's an average. Okay, the last one was all your life. So this is just one day. All right, so here is an average day. And you have 24 hours in a day. Yeah. So the average would be 16 hours would be your waking day. And then you'll have the 8 hours you just do rest. Give or take a couple of hours. People are different. So also in here, I have a number of different occupations that you could have. So you have the 9 to 5 job where people will get up, they'll get west, they'll get washed, dressed, they'll go to work, they'll have lunch, meetings, dinner, gym, TV, and bed. Okay? A lot of stories and drama in between all of that. Then there'll be somebody on the road, they'll get up, get on the road, lunch, back on the road, dinner, on the road, delivery, and back to bed. And then a housewife, she'll be getting up, get the kids ready for school, washing, ironing, shopping, cooking, cleaning, schooling, maybe a walk or a movie, and bed. Then there's someone who's retired. You get up, read the newspaper, maybe call friends, have lunch with a friend, a gardening, bridge club, blah, blah, blah. And then there's someone who's unemployed. They'll get up, watch TV, lunch, watch TV, dinner, pub, and bed. Roughly, okay? So these are just basically some of the occupations that you could have. And a lot of people say to me, like, you know, should I do this, should I do this, should I do this, should I go here, and all of that. And I say it's irrelevant. Okay, it's like what Sharon was doing with the illusion of choice. Okay, doesn't matter what job you have. But then we have 8 hours at night time. So let's look at this. Now I have a number of people and they're doing the level 1 classes, and one of the things that I got them to do straight away was the meditation program. Okay, you've all done that, you know, the 12 months meditation. Some of you loved it and some of you just absolutely hated it. All right, but that's irrelevant. So when I did this with my students, out of the 24 hours, they were really struggling to set aside the 15 minutes out of 24 hours. And even in that 15 minutes, what they were doing, they were actually doing what they were going doing the shopping, and they were doing the ironing, they had to get the dinner ready, they had to do this. So even the 15 minutes that we're doing, basically wasn't being given to anybody apart from the ego. Okay, so that's that. So then we have the space. Okay, and this space that we have created with this time in our life, we fill it up with people. Our family, our friends, yeah? And we have the people basically that we really like, the good people. And we also have the lazy people, the con man, the lout, smug, the divas, all of that. Isn't this true? Haven't we got all these people in our lives? The good ones, the bad ones, the family, and even good family and bad family. Just to make it balanced, yeah? So you can all relate to this, yeah? Then there's the energy. What are you doing all of this for? Why the slog? Why are you getting up every day? Why are you putting up with the shitty boss? All of this. Because you have a home, you're doing the work for your wealth, and then you have the body and the health. Okay? Does this all sound familiar to everybody? Is there anything there you think I'm missing? It's kind of covered it all, isn't it? So this is time, space, and energy. And what this is to do is just to you to have a think, what are you going to say at your life review? If your life review was right now, and I just showed you this, and I say, right, John, how many minutes in the day did you give to God? All right. And when you look at the facts of this, you see, people think that this is a thinking game. To get out of level 1, to wake up, enlightenment, it's all about what you think. And the ego loves that. Because there's no way you can think yourself out of this game to get out of this game. The thinking part of it, which is level 2, is right-minded thinking, is only half the story. This is the other half of the story. Basically, the big choice why people come back here lifetime after lifetime is because they choose it. And how do you choose it? How did you end up back here this lifetime? It's because you've given all the time, all the space, and all the energy to the ego, seeking outside yourself. You build a home here, okay? Your wealth, like Jesus says in the Course, is metal discs and rectangle pieces of money or paper. John? And then where's your health? So the questions you have to ask yourself is this. What do you do with this? Now that you have this information, okay? What do you do with this? So first of all, you might say, I can't do nothing about the 16 hours because I'm in a very, very busy job. Wrong. You can work with the ego, you can go to work with the ego, you can go to work with God. Simple as that. And you'll know that you go to work with the ego because you'll have the authority problem. Okay, you won't like your job. You'll be a victim maybe in your job. The boss will be a victimizer, or maybe the people you work with are victimizers. You'll be reacting, you'll be projecting. All the metaphysics that is in level 1 will be occurring in that job. So now you know I'm working with the ego here. So all this stress, all these projections, all of this energy is going straight into the ego for those, say, 8 hours. So what do you do then? Finish work, right, I need a pint. Coping mechanism. Ego again. You go, you buy the ego a pint and you take a pint. Maybe then you have to go to the gym. Sublimation. These are all because you've had a shitty day at work. So you need to de-stress, you need coping mechanisms, maybe a glass of wine, you need to go for a walk, you need to do a gym, you need to do all of these things, cause and effect. So now you're not at work, but you're still giving everything to the ego. Maybe you're watching TV now and people say, I need to de-stress to watch TV. Oh my God. TV is the biggest sublimation in this world. You could sit, procrastinate in front of the TV, and you'll have one of the shittiest days the next day, because sitting watching the TV, you're sublimating and you're feeding straight in to the shadow. Then the next day you have a shitty day, and what do you do with this? You have created this by your sublimation. You have created all of that shit inside you, so you go to work the next day, you play the victim, and now you project all this shit out and blame everybody else. Beautiful, isn't it? So that's only in these 16 hours that you feed the ego, you give it so much energy to basically annihilate yourself. But here's the other thing, right? And I basically in a workshop years ago told people this. You can go to bed with God, or you can go to bed with the ego. Who do you go to bed with? Just asking you now. Anyway. So the reason why you're not answering is because you all go to bed with the ego. Isn't that true?
No.
If anybody here was going to bed with God, they would put their hand up.
I have a prayer I say every night before I sleep.
Yeah.
That's it.
But do you go to bed with God? Prayers don't get you into God's bed.
Yeah, I do. I'm thinking of them all the time.
Yeah. Well.
Only in the last month.
Right, okay. So here's the thing. Jesus says very clearly in the Course, you can place your mind under my guidance when you go to bed, when you go to sleep. No one ever does it. You can basically go to sleep in your right mind, and you'll have the most beautiful, peaceful rest, sleep you'll have, and you'll get up the next day full of ideas, full of energy, full of everything. Or you can go to bed with the ego, which means you go to bed and you're basically playing out what's going to happen tomorrow, all the shit that happened today, and you're lying there regurgitating the same shit over and over again. You're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to have one motherfucker bad day. Now you know why. Because you've been sleeping with the ego all night. And maybe in that sleep, the ego's terrorized you with the shadow. Old memories coming up, old grievances coming up, nightmares coming up. And it's the most simplest thing. Now, my students are struggling to get those couple of 15 minutes in. And I'm saying, you can do 8 hours straight here. And it's the easiest 8 hours you're ever going to do. Because it's not taking you out of the way of anything, is it? It's not disrupting your day. You know, it's not being an inconvenience to you. But no one does it. No one does this. And that will be shown very clearly in your life review. So then let's move into the space, all these people that you have in your life. Okay? When people start spirituality, what do you think the first thing they do with all of these people? Get rid of them. Bad mistake. What do you need to get rid of? You see, it's not the people in here that's the problem. It's the thoughts that you have about the people in here. Those are your attachments. Okay? So what you have to do to clean all of this mess up, you have to look very honestly at the thoughts you have projected and attached to the people in your family, in your friends, in the world of the come on. And that's how simple that is. Because when you remove the thoughts of, this is a good person, that's a bad person, I like this person, you know, that person's very intelligent, oh, that person's stupid. You know, when you remove all these thoughts, you just turn a whole lot into unconditionality. And that's the difference between a conditional relationship and an unconditional relationship, is because you put conditions, which are thoughts, onto your relationships. All of them. So that's that. If you go up to the spiritual universe and you're looking for a visa to get in there, okay, permanently, okay, you can't have any thoughts about anybody in there. You can't be given all the time during the day and night. Now, God's not looking for all this time, but he's looking for a little willingness from you to say, right, you know, if you're giving all this time, space and energy to the ego, you're making a very strong case you want to come back here. God's saying, no problem. It's all yours. Stand. There you go. But you have to make God think in this. Is this person really ready to wake up and come home? And that's what this is about. So then comes the energy part of this. Where's your home? When you think of your home, when someone says home, what's the thought you have about your home? Is it 4 walls? Is it an estate? When you think of home. Because where Jesus says in the Course, where your home is, that's where your treasure is. So if your home's in this world, that's where your treasure is. And this is basically not right or wrong or good or bad. Just be honest with yourself that if you're trying to do all of this, stop it and really enjoy your home. Okay? Where's your wealth? Is it coming from the ego? Because this is the ego's home and this is the ego's wealth. And like Jesus says in the Course, is it metal discs and rectangular pieces of paper? Because when you don't have it, or you need it, or you want more of it, or you this, look what you do to get it. So all you're doing is again choosing the ego and choosing. And you can't have wealth in this world without lack. Because everything you seek for, you will be a victim. And then where's your health? Again, is it in the body? Or is it in your soul? Is it in your spirit? Is it in your mind? Because we're making all these choices, especially these 3, every day, because this is what you're really putting yourself through hell for, is all of this. And people think this is what you have to do, this is what you need to do. And there's nothing wrong with having a beautiful home, having plenty of money, having a fit body and all of that. Absolutely not. That's the way it should be. But there's also, you have to have the balance, the yin, the yang. You have to bring in a part of your spiritual self to this whole equation. You have to balance it. You know, it's not about giving all of this to God. God doesn't want that. God wants you to come here, have an amazing life. But when you can bring in your spiritual balance to this, you will have one fabulous life. I think it's coming 7, 8 years now since I woke up. Not 1 second of fear have I ever felt. Not 1 grain of guilt have I felt in the last 7 or 8 years. It's been truly amazing to live life. And I see the miracle of life all around me. Why? Because I'm not so busy trying to put my shit onto other people. So when it comes down to it, this is your life review. And you can do this review anytime you want. And it's just about looking with common sense in this. If you're a spiritual person and you really want to do this, then you have to give part of your time, part of your energy, and a part of your space to yourself. It's not about giving it to God. It's about giving it to your true self in this manner. When you can come into your true self, you leave the ego, you go to level 2, you're free. It's that simple. But if you're giving all the time to the ego, you're stuck on level 1. You ain't getting out of it. It won't work that way. You have to be prepared to give a part of your time. And if this is too much for you at the moment, okay, take that out of your dirt. But what about your sublimation? Can you say no to it? You can. Because if you know that this is sublimation, this is about, really what you're doing is injecting poison into your body, into your mind. Because that sublimation is feeding the shadow, it's feeding sickness, it's feeding hate, it's feeding anger. So if you want to know the true cause of this, stop blaming the ego and start taking responsibility at this level. And this is a part of the responsibility. So even here, your home. You know, give a bit of consideration and time to your home as a spiritual being, where your heart is, where your love is, and your wealth. What is wealth? For those who have read my book, what is wealth?
I haven't read it, but is it anything to do with health?
It's what you do for other people. It's the love that you show for people. That's your health. You know, those acts of kindness, without attachments, without thinking, oh, I'm a nice fella, I'm a good person for doing this. You know, smiling at someone. Just the simplest little things in life. That's your health. The one thing that basically will destroy you physically, mentally, and everything else is the passive aggressive. The passive aggressive destroys all the organs in this area. And what you're really doing is, I'm not being honest. That's what the passive aggressive is. Someone who can't be honest. Why? Because, oh, I'm afraid of hurting that person's feelings. Okay? Suffer the consequences, cause and effect. You see, because the law of God is the law of karma, is the law of cause and effect. You have to learn that you are your own creator of hell, and you can be your own creator of heaven. That's the choice that Sharon was trying to show. But on level 1, there is no choice. Okay? Choice begins with actions. Now, you might say, life is so busy. I can't pull myself out of that. I don't have the awareness to pull myself out of it. That's what the meditations are all about. You see, the meditations, the way they're structured in that 12 months, break this cycle up to disrupt all of this flow into the ego thought system, into the ego, into the shadow. And that's only the start of it. But if people can't do the meditation, or if you have stopped the meditations, then you have made a decision that you don't want to give any time to God. You don't want to give any time to yourself. Now, you might go and read this book and read that book and do this and do that and all that. But that's just, again, a part of the ego thought system of seeking. You know, like Sharon showed there with all those different masks that we wear, we're getting caught out time and time and time again. And we think, oh, we're really going here now, I'm really getting on, I've got it now, I really understand this now. And then all of a sudden, bang. And that's the way life is. When you think you have a handle on it, it just hits you straight between the eyes. So, the way you have to do this is start by overriding the persona, start taking charge of your time, start taking charge of the people in your lives, taking responsibility for them. Because if you have someone bad in your life, it's not their fault. You have projected your shit onto them and you won't take responsibility for it. And that's complete dishonesty. And you can certainly work at these levels. Because this is all a process. You're not going to do this overnight. But there has to be a starting point. How many people thought of this before I did this today in the room? Any?
So,
Because this is half of what you need to do with the other part of right-mindedness, the work on level 2, the work with the thinking part of this. You know, the intellectuals love the thinking part, but I know I've worked with a lot of them that won't do anything. They won't apply the tools, they won't apply forgiveness, they won't do this. They'll think all day. But they'll have to learn that lesson that, you know, a part of this is action. You know, action has to be a part of this. Because your action is saying no to the ego. And Jesus says, and of course the only difference between me and you, I said no to the ego completely. So let's look from my perspective on this, right? How much time do you think I give to God? Anyway,
24 hours.
all of it, which is a problem. And it has been a problem for years because it really drove me fucking insane. So what I had to do, I have to break it up. Okay, and what do you think I break it up with? Ego, distraction, football, anything at all, just to pull back, because it's quite intense when you do this. And I can't do it all of the time. I tried to do it all of the time, and that was basically ego. So I have to pull back, Okay, the space that I have in my life is completely empty.
It's completely
Empty.
empty.
I don't have a thought about one person that doesn't apply to everybody. That's my barometer there. Okay? And that's how you need to bring in the balance. If there's one thought that you have about anybody that separates that person from anybody else, it needs to be corrected.
So no judgment ever.
Without judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, if you go in, if you even put your toe in the water, it'll just slip in. You know? You know, you can't have a little bit of the ego. It's either all or none. And then my home, basically is a suitcase. We all know that. I don't have a home. My wealth is what's inside me. I don't have anything outside me. And my health, well, my health comes from my spirit. My body is completely neutral. It has no effect on who I am inside. So I don't need to be a vegetarian. I don't need to wear spiritual clothes. I don't need to do all of these things to enhance this body specialness that it's got some way, it's got something important role to play. Body's completely neutral in all of this. And that keeps me balanced inside. Okay? Any questions on this? Anybody? Is it a shock?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, no, it's not a shock, but when you put it like that, it's very black and white to see how much time you actually do give to God and how you avoid it.
And like I say, it's not even to God.
Yeah.
You
To
know,
yourself.
it's you're not giving it to yourself, your true self. You see, the persona is the bully. The persona is the biggest bully in your life because it's bullying the personality all the time. Go here, do this, don't do that. Oh, don't speak to that person. Oh, don't speak to this person. These two voices going on, and the personality is sitting in there, doesn't get a word in. Doesn't want to get a word in because its patience is infinite. It'll sit there until the time that you basically say, enough's enough of the persona, start shutting it down. No. And like Sharon's beautiful presentation, it's a simple, you're playing 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 of those persona faces every day. And like you says there, Margaret, like when you don't find what you want, you know, the shadow's not too far behind.
Just a very small snippet. I had a dream early this morning, and I went home and the house had been broken into, but they removed everything. Like it wasn't someone coming in and taking something, all the furniture, everything was gone. And I kept saying, I wanted to take my money. That was the first one. So I went to the Course of Miracles, a meeting, and I met you on the stairs. And I said to you, Michael, my house has been broken into. And in it, I felt I was looking for sympathy. And you just started laughing and smiling. And I just came away and I was totally confused. Jesus Christ, he hasn't got any empathy or something. You're just smiling. And I couldn't figure out. And then it was back to, just did they take my money?
But do you know what that was all about?
I don't know.
Do you know what that was all about? Your house is getting broken into every single day. Your house is your personality. And the persona and the shadow are the thieves. And that's what's happening. And that's why I smiled that day, like, you know, because you're denying that inside, you're projecting it out, and now all of a sudden it manifests in front of you. So again, you know, there's another person, and they built their house and it ended up with all pyrite and everything too, like, you know. So Jesus talked about this 2,000 years ago, where you build your house. You can build it on sand, or you can build it on the highest mountaintop, like, you know. So when you build your house on sand, you're building it with the ego. And you take everything, the doubts, the fears, the worries, and everything else.
So do you have to then keep defending and
Of course,
protecting?
of course.
Yeah.
You know, everything in this world needs to be defended. Why? Because this entity out there called the shadow, it's another people, and they're going to come and take what belongs to you. But you're projecting the shadow onto those people, and then those people come and take. So you're creating that. That's how we create all of these things in our lives. Like, our house might get robbed, and it goes, nothing to do with me, I'm a victim. But our house is getting robbed all the time. You know, and we're denying that. So that means, how can, you know, we're creating basically people to take stuff from us all the time. And that's the ego's thinking. You know, the ego only has two ideas. They're very simple. Seek to get rid of something. And both of those ideas come from the persona. Okay, the persona is trying to get rid of the shadow and get a better image at the same time. And that's what it's all about. So, we're going to finish up there on this one. Any questions before we finish? Happy? I know he's not happy, but reasonably happy anyway. Not even reasonably happy. Okay, we'll leave it there. Right. We'll move on.